Neerja, and today on Real Women, Real Wisdom, I'm joined by Natalie Ledwell. Natalie is a speaker, best-selling author, host of The Inspiration Show, which is an online web series, and the founder of Mind Movies. Now, in this episode, we're talking specifically about limiting beliefs and past programming, the programming that our mind has based on our past, especially from our childhood. And in some cases, we walk around with limiting beliefs we don't even know we have. I mean, we may want money, more money, but we may walk around believing that money is truly the root of all evil. So instead of that belief, perhaps we can go to a belief that's more loving of money. I love money and money loves me. My new mantra. Anyway, take a listen, watch, and enjoy. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Neerja. How are you this morning?
Wonderful, wonderful. I don't know if it's snowing where you are, but it is here. Oh, no.
I'm in sunny California.
That's right.
The tragic thing is that it's been raining for 2 days, so that's been, tough for us.
Tough. You mean you don't have any ice to slip on? Oh, I'm so sad for you.
No.
So today we're talking about past programming and limiting beliefs, which when I asked you what you wanted to talk about, you said that, and I thought, brilliant, because if anything is holding anybody back, it's that.
Exactly. And the thing is, most of us are completely unaware that we have any kind of, mental, bad mental chatter, anything that's holding us back, any programming that's really, sabotaging our success.
Yeah.
So, most of us are completely unaware.
Well, I like what you sent me. You sent me something that told me a little bit more about yourself. And in it, you said something about, I'm a happy, positive person. I didn't know I had limiting. See, that's so important because a smile on your face, and some good fortune this week, things going well for you, so not an indication that there's limiting beliefs that are preventing you from getting what you want. There's no, so subtle sometimes.
Yeah. And the thing is, we can have limiting beliefs in different areas of our life. Yes, when I discovered that I had a limiting belief, I'm like, I see the glass half full. I'm a very positive person. I'm happy. But what I didn't realize is that I actually had a limiting belief around money. And of course, once I went through this process, which I can share if you like, then I went through the process and I'm like, well, when I think about it, how could I not have had a limiting belief? Of course I had one, but I just wasn't even aware that it was there.
So for everybody, maybe perhaps we've been saying limiting beliefs. What is a limiting belief for those who may not know what that is?
Okay, well, basically, a limiting belief or past programming is basically a truth that we pick up. Normally, we adopt these when we're young. Between the ages of 2 and 6, we are in what we call predominantly theta brainwave activity. It's part of our development. And at this stage, as children, we have no filter. We don't judge anything. We just observe things. And then depending on our environment or anything that's going on at the time, we start to, we just store that into our subconscious mind. We form an opinion on it, and that becomes our truth moving forward in life. And so what happens is that once we take on that as our truth, and it gets stored in the subconscious mind, every time something comes up about that subject moving forward, it taints our perception of that situation, because our subconscious mind needs to keep proving that it's right. And so we keep changing our perception. Let me just share my story because it's a perfect example. This is back in February of 2008. And my husband and I, we were creating a product called the How To series with an NLP practitioner in Sydney. And we were doing 6 different modules, and we're filming one of the modules this day in her living room. And this one was on eliminating limiting beliefs. And the lady's name was Linda, and she said to me, Nat, look, I need to get you on camera and take you through an exercise on camera so that we can show people how to get rid of these limiting beliefs. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I can't help you, but I actually don't think I have a limiting belief. And she goes, look, that's fine. She goes, but why don't we start with money? Because that's common for most people. I'm like, okay. So we sit down and, I close my eyes and she asked me a series of questions, but the questions were designed to get me into my subconscious mind.
Oh.
Then she asked me the question, when did you first form your limiting belief around money? And without hesitation, I said, when I was 5. Now, I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? But obviously it came from my subconscious mind. And what came up for me was an incident that happened when I was 5 years old. I was at school. And I'm actually from a big family, from a family of 8 kids.
Oh, wow.
And my maiden name is Roloff. So I used to get teased a lot, like roll off the cliff and roll off the hill. People like. And it wasn't the teasing that bothered me so much. It was more that my observation was that the rich kids, the kids with money, were the ones that teased me the most. So I'm like, oh, well, if you all got money, you're not a nice person. And of course, I'd go home, and whenever there was any stress in the household, it was always about the lack of money because we're such a big family. So I started to form this belief that money was bad. And so I had this realization as I was going through this exercise, and as I come out of it, I actually had tears streaming down my face, and I don't cry very often. Even my husband was like, "Whoa,
what'd you do to her?"
Yeah, but it was like this release. I'm like, oh my goodness, and what started to happen to me like dominoes, I started to remember all these different decisions I had made throughout my life, and the things I used to say. I used to say things like, I've got enough money, I don't need any more, I'm a pretty spiritual person, I've got more than enough, which is my personal favorite. But all those kind of things, although that inner chatter that was going on was sabotaging me from having the financial success that I wanted. And what I also realized is that every time Glenn and I would have a discussion about money, it would always be this stressful, I'd always get into this stressful conversation. And what I was doing was just copying my parents' behavior because that's what they used to do around money as well. Now, that was February of 2008.
How many years ago is that? 6 years ago?
Oh, yeah. So April 2008, Glenn and Ryan and I, the 3 of us came over to the US. We spent 6 months here. We did our launch of My Movies, our first big initial launch of My Movies to the world. And in September of 2008, the week that the economic crisis hit the planet, we did a $700,000 week on our launch week. And I've had the most spiritually and financially successful years of my life since I had that release in February 2008.
So I'm dying to ask you, has it been a process since then in releasing that, or did it what does it feel? Did you feel that it released and then that was it and everything changed, or did it take time to release that?
No, what I did, and this is what I recommend for a lot of people that they do as well, because I started to become aware of the negative chatter that used to come up for me, I would take a note of it. And I would catch myself and go, no, that's not my new process. So then I would purposely change the thought process I would have. So if I would come up with something like, I've got enough money, I would change that straight away and focus on, do my visualizations every day with me working from a different thought paradigm. So I write down affirmations like, money flows abundantly to me. I'm financially successful. I have more than enough. I change the world with the revenue that I create. And so I would focus on these affirmations and visualize myself living from this new thought paradigm.
Ooh, right there. I visualized myself living from that thought paradigm. That's so interesting. You didn't say visualize myself living the good life. Living from that paradigm. That's interesting, because that's saying you saw yourself believing what your affirmations are. I love that. Saw myself living that paradigm. That's good.
Yeah. See, most people believe, especially when it comes to something like money, it's like the have do be. Like, you think you need to have the money first to be able to do the things that you want. To be this financially successful person. The thing is, you need to be that financially successful person first. You need to act and think like someone who is already financially free before you can, have the things and do what it is that you want. So, because the thing is, once you can see yourself living and being this person, your thoughts automatically change your actions. And when your thoughts and your actions are in alignment with this new reality, in this new financial freedom that you're creating, then what happens is that you resonate and you vibrate at a certain frequency out into the quantum field or out into the universe, and then everything that you need to be able to create that in your reality starts to get attracted back to you, which scientifically explains how the law of attraction works. But you need to see it here, and you need to feel the emotions of it first, and you need to think and act accordingly, and then it will actually be attracted back to you.
See, there's two things, two parts to this. It seems like it's being aware, like you said, you know, being even aware that you have a limiting belief.
Yep.
Because I always tell my daughters, when you think you've got it nailed, challenge yourself again, because our life is a mirror, right? So if all these beliefs were, you know, simpatico, I'd be having an Oscar luncheon right now or something, you know, with Jared Leto, toasting our Oscars to each other. So, you know, there's always something brewing. Or, you know, it's perhaps the other side of it, I was going to say, is acting as if. It's not so easy either. It's not so easy, especially if you want something that you don't have the experience yet to inhabit those feelings.
Exactly. I mean, acting as if, especially if you want to act from an abundant frequency or an abundant vibration,
right?
Just do little things like, you know something that I do,
What?
you know, in my car, I always go to the bank and I get like rolls of quarters. Like, so I've always got quarters in the car, like I've got many of them, and I'll always put an extra few in there just so that, you know, the next person that comes along, they might be in a rush and they might be really grateful that they've got that, you know. Whenever I'm leaving tips when I'm at a restaurant,
right,
or whatever, I will always round up.
Right.
Always
So easy to do that.
And we're talking about like $1 here and there,
right.
But the thing is, you're acting as if you're this abundant person.
Yes.
You know, and when you do these little things all the time, that's the frequency that you're sending out.
That's beautiful. I love it. The pet stores and the supermarkets make it so easy now for you. Would you like to donate the 5 cents that you saved by bringing your bag to charity? Yes. Would you like to put $1 to end poverty? Yes.
Yes.
It can be easy. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. When you do those small little things all the time,
right,
you're telling your subconscious mind and everything. I mean, and if you really want to know if you have a limiting belief,
yes,
just look at different areas of your life. I mean, you know, your relationships, your health,
yes,
finances, business, career, any of those kind of areas, and go, well, you know, have I tried to strive for a goal in that area before, and have I ever been able to reach my goal? Because if you've always fallen short, chances are you do have some kind of a program there that's telling you that you can't do it. Now, if we're going to pull back the layer on all the different, you know, limiting beliefs that are out there, you know, normally it comes down to I'm not worthy, I don't deserve it. You know, because there has been, you know, some incident that's happened that when you're a child.
Right, 2 to 6 years old, you said, right?
Yeah.
2 to 6?
And it could be something thoughtless, like some adult or someone that you look up to, you know, said one day they were cranky with you and said, you know, you're stupid.
Right.
And then because, especially the incidents that have a really strong emotional attachment to it, that's what we take on as our truth. Like, you know, if it really upset you when someone told you that you were stupid, you go, oh my God, I must be stupid.
I was told at 5 years old I was too dark to be even an Indian actress. I was like, oh man, you know. So yes, and you know, and then I think about these little kids. It's so important to be careful what you say to these little children. You know, teachers have such a huge responsibility. So you alluded to that process, right? Tell us what the process. First of all, what does the process help with, and then tell us about the process.
Okay. So first of all, number one, look at different areas of my life and see where I'm falling short, or where I've, you know, tried to get a goal before and just have never sort of quite got over the line.
Right.
So so then what I do is I'll purposely set myself a goal in that area and start to take action towards that goal. Start to look at affirmations and start to take action towards that. And then as I'm doing that, I use the Notes app on my phone, or you could have a little notepad that you carry around with you. And I'm really consciously aware of all the thoughts that come up for me as to why I can't get there. as to why I can't do it. And so I'll take a note of those, and at the end of the day, I'll sit down and I'll have a look at this list and go, okay, well, these are the thoughts that are not serving me. And I set a strong intention to change these thoughts. And then what I'll do is I'll write the opposite of those in a positive affirmation. And so remember that the language that we use, especially when we're using our affirmations, is really important. So writing something like, I'm debt-free, is really not an affirmation.
Right, you got the word debt in there.
That's right. I think with our affirmations, and most people go, well, I don't like affirmations because, it's what I'm writing isn't true. That's not the purpose of an affirmation.
That's a good point.
The purpose of an affirmation is to help you visualize. And when you visualize, you're visualizing the reality that you want to create. So when I say the word debt, I mean, what's the picture that comes up in your mind when I say the word debt? I'm thinking about all my bills. I remember, like, before I was involved with my movies, having a moment where I was just like, I had all these bills, and I'm looking at my bank account, and my husband and I had multiple businesses, and I'm like, I'm missing something here because this is ridiculous. I was doing all the courses, reading all the books, walked the calls with Tony Robbins. I had done everything. I'm like, I'm missing something. And it wasn't until I came across the law of attraction, I went, I need to see it here, and I need to feel those emotions. So I'll make sure that I write out my affirmations using positive language. So, and remember the words, you don't want to use any words of the things that you don't want to attract.
Right.
So you don't want to use the word debt. You don't want to use the word pay my bills. You want to make sure that you're talking about being in an abundant vibration, attracting money easily, creating all of that, wealth in your life, and the new thought paradigms that you want to have instead. And then when you sit down to do your visualizations every day, and like I obviously I'm from Mind Movie, so I create a Mind Movie about, the goal that I want to set. So my affirmations describe what my goal is, how amazing life is now that I've reached it, why I'm striving for this goal, and why I'm going through all the extra effort, and also the thoughts that I need to think and the person I need to become to be able to create this reality. So when you add all of those affirmations together and you're sitting down and doing your visualizations every day, you're seeing yourself being this abundant person, about being this creatively wealthy person. You can see what that means to you, because especially when you're visualizing money, it's like you're not visualizing a pile of cash. Right. That's not going to invoke any kind of emotion. What you're visualizing is what that money means to you.
Yes.
Okay, so you're visualizing, your kids going to college, or you're visualizing. For me, I visualize, the village in Africa that I've been able to, create a school for, and have running water, and I can see the kids around me, and they're all smiling and hope, and so they're the things I visualize when I'm thinking about that. And then I'm also thinking about, seeing me as this person who every time I, think or make a decision moving forward, it's always from an abundant mindset. You can do that whole process and see and feel that. It's really, that's what will help to create that in your future.
That was great. I'm digesting that. I'd like to talk about mind movies, because there's a science behind this. There's a audio aspect, there's a visual aspect, and I'm thinking, based on what you just said, because I've never done one myself. I haven't created. I have seen them, right? And I'm a fan. That's why I asked to interview you. But I haven't created one myself. So I'm wondering, are the components that go into a successful, I guess is maybe not the good word, but a mind movie that somebody's very happy to have, the affirmations, does that create the template for these, talk about the process of creating it, and also how the audio and the visual, seeing it, all of that, just takes the visualization to another level.
Yeah, it's Mind Movies is such a powerful tool to help you visualize, because for most of us, if we've never lived this life, if we've never, created this goal or had this experience in our life before, it's very difficult, number one, to see it in our mind.
Right.
Because we can't conceptualize it.
Right.
And it's really difficult to figure out what the feelings would be once we got there.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So the three most powerful components of a mind map, well, of course, at first it's the affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
Using the right language around our goals, which we've covered, and covering those 5 different types of affirmations. Specifically, what is the goal that you're striving for? What is the amount of money per month that you want to be earning? What is the amount of money you want to have in your bank? Give us a number. Then describe what life is like now. So you're not visualizing the pile of cash. You're visualizing what the money means to you.
Right?
To change your life and change the life of the people that you love around you.
Right.
Then why? Why are you going through all of this? Because as you're striving towards a goal, and if it's big enough and hairy enough, which it should be, you are always going to come across challenges. That's just how it works. And so when you come across challenges like that, when you can really focus and remember why you're going through the extra effort, it helps you to push through those very easily. You also want to be writing down any action affirmations. You don't need to know the whole plan or the whole way that you're going to be able to reach your goal. And believe me, and this is like for everything amazing that's ever happened in my life, it has never happened the way that I thought it was going to happen.
Oh, really?
So never married to how it's going to happen, but there always has to be some kind of action in the beginning, because you need to, you can sit on the couch at home and visualize till the cows come home.
Right.
Unless you're actually out there at the right place at the right time and creating that momentum, you're never going to have those golden opportunities or those chance meetings or those things that you could never have planned for in a million years have happened to you if you just didn't get home.
Right. And plus it makes you happier, I believe, to be taking that action. It makes you happier.
Yeah. So, so I always had things that I want to be doing, like especially if it's like a health and fitness goal.
Right.
I'm like, okay, what are my exercise goals? What are the changes I'm making to my eating plan? With my health and weight loss one, I had, I used to, 5 o'clock, I used to call wine o'clock. And so it's like a danger time. So, I get to 5 o'clock, and of course it's like a trigger. It's like, 5 o'clock, I would always like to have a glass of wine. So what I would do is I'd grab my mind movie, because once you create a mind movie, you download to your phone or your iPad or your computer, and I would watch my mind movie then and get into that vibration of this healthy new me, and that would diminish my, my craving for wine. Because I would be focusing on what I wanted. So, you have your action affirmations and all the things that you want to do to move you towards that goal. And then, of course, your thought affirmations, the new thoughts that you're deciding to adopt that's going to supersede the previous ones. And, of course, the more you visualize and see this in your subconscious mind, so you have your affirmations, then you have your photos, which actually give your mind an image to build on. So it's a starting point. But the secret source of a mind map is actually the music. Because the only hard and fast rule when it comes to creating a mind map and then choosing the music that you want, it has to be a song that really moves your soul.
Oh, so you can have whatever song you want in the mind movies?
Absolutely. And it has to be something that's that really stirs you.
Yeah. Any body rate song.
Yes. And recently, I was actually at an advanced workshop with Dr. Joe Dispenza, and Dr. Joe was in the movie What the Bleep, and he's science and epigenetics. And we did a little experiment, and where there was 300 people that attended this advanced workshop, and I took a small team from mind movies with me, and we had 300 people all create a mind movie. So we did a couple of different labs where we helped people that maybe were having a few difficulties in creating their mind movie. But it was really interesting to see the difference in the music that people chose. People were choosing classical pieces. One of the best songs that I think ever created for a mind movie is the new Happy song by Pharrell.
Yes.
A lot of people were choosing that. Other people were choosing, country songs But the thing is, whatever speaks to you and really stirs your soul. Right. My original mind movie, because I'm a Coldplay fan, was Clocks by Coldplay. And I get goosebumps even when I think about it. Every time I hear that song, even if I'm in the car or anywhere, it instantly transports me into emotions of accomplishment.
Yes.
absolute resolve that I know that anything I put my mind to, I can do. I've created maybe 10 mind movies in my time, and everything that I've put in my mind movies has actually come to fruition. Because, when you can visualize on a regular basis like that and attach that emotion to it, especially when you're, doing it on a regular basis, you're creating new neural pathways in your brain. So, no longer are these negative, thought processes coming through, all these positive ones are, which of course is changing your actions, which is changing your vibration, which is attracting everything back to you.
So I'm sure you have been witness to tons of mind movies that your customers have made over the years.
Yes.
Has there been any that just tugs your heartstrings, and because the manifestation story that goes along with it? Is there anyone that, that really you just can't believe that this person, and, it just is etched in your memory forever?
We get emails every day.
Yeah, imagine.
And some of them have got like lists of things. I've got this and this and this and this. I got one of those just recently, and she was listing about 10 things that had manifested from after she created her mind movie. And I have one guy who's created so many, and he actually keeps stats, which is hilarious. He's manifested a house in the mountains, certain amount of monthly income. And I think 82.3% or something is his percentage of what he actually manifests all the time, or actually creates from his mind movies. I have a personal favourite, is a girl from Sydney, Australia. She in her mind movie, she put that she wanted $10,000, that she wanted to be in an amazing new relationship, and she wanted a promotion at work. And within 3 weeks of her making that mind movie, she received a check in the mail that she was not expecting. It was from an auntie who had passed away. It was from her, from her estate. She received her promotion at work. Her promotion at work meant that she had to move to Melbourne. And so she did that. She moved to Melbourne, and within 2 days of being in Melbourne, she had met a guy which she then went into a serious relationship with. And that happened within 3 weeks of making her mind movie.
So when she made her mind movie, she had a financial thing, she had a career thing, and she had a romantic thing. Yes. So for those listening that are like, well, my relationship's in the toilet, I'm broke, and I got a job I hate, like we were saying before, to get to the point where they even know what thoughts will feel good or will get them on the right path. Do you have any tips on, choosing the right, like I guess you said it earlier, you how you want to feel, and then you got to go pick pictures that give you those feelings? Is that what you're doing? And then obviously the music. So it's all about creating a moving video piece with music and images that evoke the feelings that you want to feel.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. And when you combine all three of those, sometimes it's very difficult to sit down and kind of visualize what it is that you want. But when you have like a moving, dynamic movie with that music, just at that Joe Dispenza at workshop, we had, I had one lady, she sat down and she goes, look, I'm really sorry, I haven't even started, because we try to encourage people to create their mind movies before they got to the event. And she said, look, she goes, look, I'm not really good with technology. And I'm like, that's fine, it's not a problem. So I sat down with her, I said, I'll help you. So I got it started, we got into the platform, and I think it took about 20 minutes to create her mind movie. So I'm like, okay. She goes, I'm finished now, so that's good. So she came up with her affirmations, and when you go inside the platform, there's a whole library of affirmations, photos, and music already in there.
Oh, okay. So there's a library in there. Okay.
Yeah, so next 20 minutes you can create a mind movie. Oh. So it's very, very intuitive. And then we added music to it, and I said, well, look, would you like to preview it before we send it to the processor and download it to your computer? She goes, sure. So I press the preview button, and she's sitting there watching this mind movie. She starts crying.
Oh.
Because when you see that for the first time, and it actually helps you to, really believe that this could be part of your reality, it moves you in a way that I can't even describe. And Dr. Joe was actually using the mind movies during the seminar, and we were sort of going into trance, and then we were watching our mind movie, and then going into trance, watching our mind movie, and really putting this visualization deep into our subconscious mind. And when I came in for that first session, I was running a little bit late because I was helping people with their mind movies. Mm-hmm. So we sort of got into trance, and then he goes, okay, I want you to watch your mind movie now. So I watched my mind movie once and then closed my computer because I didn't get the memo that we were supposed to keep watching it. And so you got to visualize the room was dark. All I can see is everyone's faces lit up from their computer screens or their phones because they're watching their mind movie because they were watching it repetitively. Mm-hmm. And I could hear and see the emotional responses and reactions, and it made me cry because I'm like, I can't believe that this technology is used like this. But to see people so moved and in this complete emotion of belief that this will be their reality,
that's huge. You're basically giving people the glimpse. Yes, I'm worthy. Yes, I deserve it.
Yes. Yeah.
And when they feel that like that for the first time, that's
they see it for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's like this is happening. So it's amazing.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, this is important stuff. This is important stuff because no matter what it is you want, if you don't have it, there's all kinds of modalities out there to help you get it. Yeah. But I find that the truth of the matter is, if you can't see it. If you can't see yourself having it and doing it.
Yeah. No, exactly. The thing is, you've got to be able to see it in your mind first.
Yeah.
Before it can even be it's got to start as a thought first.
Yeah.
Like Dooley in The Secret said, thoughts become things.
Yes.
It has to start as a thought first.
Yes.
And it can't be just like I wish that this would happen in my life.
Right.
There needs to be emotion behind it. There needs to be repetitive. There needs to be like a whole picture of it. You need to be able to see yourself in it. And when you're visualizing, I mean, for most people, it's easy for us to see the movie playing, in our mind and see us in that movie. But when you can actually put yourself in, mm-hmm. and and part of my visualization, I try and sense different objects and the senses of feeling and smelling, and I can see myself walking on and see my feet and hear the crunching of the gravel under my feet as I'm walking up into this school that's been built in Africa and having and sensing the children running towards me and the sound of them all like screaming and laughing, and when you can visualize like that and really dimensionalize that whole process, it becomes even more real. And especially when you're, if you, especially because I like to visualize when I'm meditating. Mm-hmm. So I'll meditate first, quiet my mind, and then when I feel like I'm connected to source or connected to that quantum field, mm-hmm. and then do that visualization. Mm-hmm. With Dr. Joe Dispenza, what he says is that when you're connected to that quantum field, if you can dimensionalize and really feel yourself in that new reality, whatever you can create while you're connected to that has to materialize in this reality. And so the more regular that you can do this and really put yourself and have sense and smell and feel everything that's happening inside of that, the higher the chance is that you will actually be able to create this in the reality that you have now.
And I bet no matter what, there's an evolution to your happiness in this process. That's the way I like to say it, because when you start thinking differently, life is different.
Absolutely. I mean, you're emanating in a completely different way. People respond to you differently.
Yes.
Things are, I like to adopt that my mantra is, things always work out for me.
And that's powerful, because if you truly believe that, imagine that, I like that the mind movies to me is a great meditation solution for those that maybe are not, Kundalini masters yet.
Yeah.
It's a great, because quite frankly, in meditation, I'm visualizing a lot of times too. Yeah. So, last question. Mm-hmm. I give you a microphone, you tell the whole world something. What's that something that you're going to tell the whole world? Based on what you've learned from all of this, what's your message?
Life doesn't have to be as hard as we make it. Once we realize that we are in complete control over the reality that we're creating around us, and we make choices in alignment with that, we can create a life beyond our wildest dreams.
I hope my daughters watch this interview. Thank you so much, Natalie. Natalie Ledwell from Mind Movies. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Neerja.